NFC Central Battle. I'm Pat Summerall here with John Madden. John, no one expected the Minnesota Vikings to be the only undefeated team at this point in the season. How do they continue that?
Yeah, I think they're the biggest surprise in the league. And you take the job that their coach Denny Green has done. Dante Culpepper, where did he come from? And the job that he's doing. I mean, he is so big and so strong and playing so well. And then, of course, you say, well, he has these great targets. He has Randy Moss on one side, Chris Carter on the other side. Now they have a bigger and better offensive line and Robert Smith running behind him. So that is a pretty good package.
John, what about Tampa Bay? You talk about surprises. A lot of people thought they'd be the unbeaten team at this point, but they've lost 4 in a row. What do they have to do to correct that? But
they don't look like a team that's lost 4 in a row. When we were in Jacksonville a week ago, they looked like a team that lost 4 in a row, and they did, and they played like that. I've been here in Tampa and watched them practice, talk to players and coaches. This doesn't act nor look like a team that is a losing team. And Tony Dungy really hasn't fired up for this one. But I think, you know how you usually start a game and you say, well, we have to run, establish a run, then we'll pass later. I think if the Bucs are going to have success today, they're going to have to start off with the pass, then go to the run later. So a lot of pressure is going to be on Sean King early in this game.
Coming up, it's the undefeated Vikings versus the Buccaneers, and we'll be back after a word from your local Fox station.
The players sometimes get prepared for the game. They look for words from a higher source. They're wise. Safety John Lynch from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he gets a note every Sunday before the game. The note today said, control yourself. Trust your instincts. And big players make big plays in big games. This here is a big game. He'll be out there fired up and ready to go. Back up to you, Pat and John.
All right, DJ, and Lynch is always fired up. Gramatica sets to kick it off for the Buccaneers. Troy Walters is back deep for the Minnesota Vikings. Gramatica lines it 5 yards deep into the end zone. Walters is going to bring it out. Doesn't make it to the 20. Here's the Viking offense. The very explosive unit. Up front, an excellent offensive line. Stussy, Lucina, Burt, Dixon, and Stringer. Stringer having a great year. Randy Moss, Robert Smith, Fine Sasser. Davis is the tight end, and Chris Carter. The other wideout, Randy Moss, comes wide right, and Carter goes left. Robert Smith's the deep back. Culpepper. Rolls right, and he's going to run right. And he is a load. Picked up about 6. John Lynch put him out of bounds. Here's the Buccaneer defense. One of the quickest, one of the best. Jones, Sapp, McFarland, and Ahanatu. The linebackers, the great Derek Brooks, Jamie Duncan in the middle, and Sheldon Quarles. Barber, Damian Robinson, John Lynch, and Donnie Abraham. 2nd and 4. Culpepper's first effort got 6.
Looks like Dante Culpepper's calling an audible here.
Yep. Robert Smith. Surging forward, Damian Robinson wrapped him up along with Ahanatu.
They always talk about 8 in the box where you bring up that extra safety. What the Vikings would like to do when they bring up an extra safety, whether it's John Lynch or Damian Robinson, is throw the ball. And then when those 2 guys are off, that's when they like to run. That time, Damian Robinson was up as the 8th guy up, and he was also the guy that made the tackle.
That extra surge by Smith got the Viking first down. 3 wide receiver set up now. Matthew Hatchett is the 3rd. The handoff again to Smith. To the 35. Donnie Abraham again made the stop.
That's one of the things that Denny Green wants to do is to show him a passing formation like the 3 wide receivers and then give him the run, and not let him not go 2 tight ends and run or those types of things where they're going to anticipate. What he really wants to do is the guy that's the key to the whole defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is John Lynch. They want to keep him off and back, and when he is off and back, then they want to run the ball.
They've got him there now on 2nd and 4. Now he inches up. Culpepper. Deep to Moss. Picked off and dropped by Damian Robinson. He had it and lost it.
And then that was a situation that we were talking about is if John Lynch is back and Damian Robinson is back, then they have both guys up. Now, when John Lynch comes up, then they know that they're going to get a man-to-man situation out there. They got the man-to-man situation. Randy Moss wins the man-to-man battle, but who comes over there and knocks the ball down? The free safety, Damian Robinson.
A heck of a play.
Heck of a play. Right. Of course, he's looking for Randy Moss. I mean, that's the guy that they said, Randy Moss cannot beat us. He can't go wild against us today.
He's the guy you better look for. They're showing blitz. Culpepper. And this is when he can kill you. He got a first down. When he sees a lane up the middle.
And you see the blitz. It was Damian Robinson right here. They're bringing the safety or that eighth guy. Now, if we stop it here, if you just give him that little lane right there, in fact, that becomes a big lane now, he is going to take it. In fact, he told us that last night. He said, anytime that I see a lane up the middle where I can run and get a first down, Denny Green has told me to go for it.
1st and 10, Minnesota. The Vikings unbeaten. Here comes another Buccaneers blitz, and this one is a run blitz, and Smith runs into it. Lynch.
Yeah, John Lynch got up, and he came over to, I think he came over to talk to his defensive coach here, Herman Edwards.
Yeah.
But you see him inch up there, he's holding it. Then he gets her. What he wants him to do is count him as being back. But I'll tell you, he has great timing. That was great timing on the play. And he has great instinct, and he's a heck of a tackler. This guy's the full package as a safety.
2nd and 11. 3-wide receiver package for Minnesota. Carter was the man in motion. Ball is loose. The ball is loose. Knocked backwards. The Buccaneers have it. Recovered by Marcus Jones.
After Warren Sapp comes up with a big play. Warren Sapp is the guy that got through there first, and instead of going for the sack, he looked like he just went to knock the ball out of Culpepper's hand. What you're going to see, number 99 right there. See him come in there, and he just, as he was going for the tackle, he took that left hand and just stripped the ball right out of Culpepper's hand. That is a heck of a play by Warren Sapp. Marcus Jones, he's pretty smart. He knows he's just going to fall on it.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do for Marcus Jones.
Watch Sapp. He gets the outside shoulder of Corbin Lucina, takes that outside shoulder, just powers through it, and swipes the ball out of Culpepper's hand.
1st and 10 for Tampa Bay at about the 14-yard line of Minnesota. No score. Nugent came back to throw. Pass complete to Keyshawn Johnson, who herded backwards. Short pickup. Here's the Tampa Bay offensive line. Pearson, McDaniel, Christie, Middleton, and Wunsch. McDaniel and Christie, of course, ex-Vikings. Jaquez Green, Warwick Dunn, Allstott Moore, and Keyshawn Johnson, who just made the reception. 2nd and 5. 2 tight ends set up for Tampa Bay.
You want to do some of this and throw out of it. Yep.
Keyshawn fighting for the end zone, and he made it. Touchdown, Buccaneers.
This is one of the things that they talk about is give them the 2 tight ends, and then the Vikings, when you give them 2 tight ends, they will play run. And then that's the situation that they want to throw the ball on. That's where being big and strong and a wide receiver is good. You see how big and strong Keyshawn Johnson was, how he could stay in bounds on that?
And if he wasn't, he wouldn't have made it.
I would still say, though, that Keyshawn Johnson gets that touchdown, but to me, that should go to Warren Sapp.
Yep. And the recovery by Marcus Jones was pretty astute also. Just falling on it instead of trying to pick it up. But Warren made the play. And he knows it. And he's proud of it.
Brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
Watch this. Here's the touchdown. Here's Keyshawn Johnson. Chris Dishman has to come across with him. Johnson comes here and just runs to the outside. Dishman kind of gets lost as he goes across. You see how deep Dishman has to get? And then Johnson can run that short pattern. And then, as we said, his strength and power can get him into the end zone. Again, the ball has to break the plane of the end zone.
Gramatica back to kick again to Troy Walters. First kick sailed about 5 yards deep into the end zone. Walters brought it out.
Gramatica was fired up in that first kick.
Yes, he was.
Fired up on this one.
Bring it out again from inside the end zone. And again, he doesn't make it back to the 20. Tampa Bay leads the undefeated Minnesota Vikings 7-0. To play in the first period. Tampa Bay 7, Minnesota 0. Warren Sapp so far has made the big play.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a big, strong guy, but he also plays with quickness.
Oh, boy,
he's more of a finesse tackle than he is a power tackle.
Culpepper breaks away from one tackler. Makes a Viking first down.
Watch this, how quick Warren Sapp gets off. I mean, he's going to be that ball is snapped, and there's Sapp. He's the first guy. Look, everyone else is kind of still in their stance, and look where Warren Sapp is.
First down, Minnesota.
Warren Sapp weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 pounds. I think it fluctuates a little bit more than maybe he'd like for it to, and certainly more than Tony Dungy would like for it.
But he does have quickness and explosion.
He really does, yes. Smith, no gain, as the Buccaneer defensive unit swarms on Robert Smith.
Look at that shot there, Pat. There's 11 Buccaneers on that play. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. You know, I've always said this about this Buck defense. They don't have any guests, that they're all tacklers. If you looked at that shot right there at the end of the play, there was 11 white jerseys around it.
That's a tribute to their defensive coordinator, or the defensive coordinator, Monty Kiffin. He does a heck of a job.
Yeah, he sure does.
Three wide receiver package for Minnesota. Kleinsaucer, however, is behind Culpepper. Looks like he's changing plays again. Fake draw from behind to Jim Kleinsaucer, the 280-pound fullback.
That's the thing that Culpepper has, you know, being so strong. Marcus Jones, the right end, gets around him, and he's going to come here. Watch Marcus Jones. He comes from this backside here. He has Culpepper. I mean, he has him high. He has him by the leg.
Has him by the leg,
yeah. He doesn't do it. He can still step up and throw the ball.
First down, Minnesota at their own 46. Four-man front. Rush almost got there again, but it didn't. It's Chris Carter. Carter to the Tampa Bay 15.
And that's exactly what they want to do. They see John Lynch come up, and anytime John Lynch comes up, they know that they're going to have a form of man back there. That at some point they have to play man-to-man coverage. He gets Chris Carter on Donnie Abraham that time, and the reason that he threw that pass is because John Lynch came up.
39-yard pickup. First and 10 at the Tampa Bay 15. That's Kleinsaucer again. Just made the pass reception 2 plays ago. Now he gets a carry.
That was one of the things Denny Green was telling us last night. He said, you know, before this is over, Jim Kleinsaucer is going to have 30 or 40 carries, but he said, we've been playing such good defenses against us that we haven't been able to do a lot of things yet. He said, there's a lot more offense that we have, and part of that offense is going to be Kleinsaucer. There's Monty Kiffin again trying to come up with the mixture of defense where the Vikings don't know what he's doing. Because when they do know what he's doing, they could just eat you up.
Blitz again, and Culpepper throws high. They picked up the blitz.
And they picked up the blitz, and usually you expect man-to-man out there. You don't expect the safety to be sitting in there. Damian Robinson, the free safety, was sitting in the post. So Culpepper has to throw this away. You see, when you see the blitz, then you usually expect that you're going to have man-to-man on the outside. See the safety blitz? But watch, Robinson stays right there. You see, now when he goes to throw it, they're going to have Randy Moss inside out. He saw Damian Robinson there and just threw it away.
Third down, 2 tight ends for the Vikings. Smith, the lone setback. Here comes Lynch again. And they pick him up again, but he hurried Culpepper. And he threw high.
Well, it's that same thing. They did the same thing. They bring Lynch, so they expect that the free safety has to cover, and he sits here in the post. It's the exact same thing. You're going to see, here comes Lynch right here. Robinson sits here in the post, and he's looking right at Randy Moss. They're not going to let Moss or Carter get into that post.
So Gary Anderson, the NFL's all-time leading scorer with 2,004 points, just set last week, will try for a field goal from 30 yards out, and he puts the Vikings on the board. It is 7-3. Tampa Bay lead with 6:35 left in the first. Good time had by all. And a beautiful day. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, seems like I've heard that somewhere time before. They've never returned a kickoff for a touchdown in the history of the franchise.
They used to say that way back when John McKay was coaching this team.
Mitch Berger to kick it off. Aaron Stecker back deep for Tampa Bay. Stecker at the 1. And a flag on the play. And I guess you'll hear that same statistic, that same fact again, because Stecker just got it back to the 27, and there's a penalty marker down. Tripping against Minnesota.
How in the heck can you trip?
Did they trip the ball carrier? Phil Luckett is the umpire, or the referee, I'm sorry.
Tripping, kicking team, number 81, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Chris Walsh.
Usually you get your feet in a bad position when when you're not in a good position to tackle. You usually have to reach something out.
Well, that
an arm or a leg.
That fills all that, doesn't it?
Hello? Won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
Congratulations to the New York Yankees on their World Series conquest over the Mets. They hold their spring training here just nearby, and that's supposed to be a replica as near as they can do of a smaller stadium of Yankee Stadium. Jack was green, the intended target. There's, boy, what a history that franchise has had. 2000 is already up there.
Yep, they just put it up. I think I watched them do that the other night. I was watching the news and saw them put up old 2000 there.
26 times, now 27 times world champion.
I think Joe Torre, as you watch that, was more emotional about this one. And a lot of his players than any of the previous two they've won.
Flag on the play as Warwick Dunn gets the carry. Looking for room. The 3 linebackers have been shuffled around by the Vikings. McDaniel moves back to the outside. Kylie Wong comes to the middle, and Dwayne Rudd is on the strong side. Tate Thomas, the rest of the Minnesota secondary. Second and 5. King drops the throw. Is hit just as he let it go. Intended for Keyshawn Johnson. Right now, for a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Pat, Peyton Manning is he is outstanding. 128 yards already in the first quarter play. This is a 31-yard strike to the tight end, Marcus Pollard, and Indianapolis on top of the line, 7-0 in the first. Back to Pat and John.
It's 7-3 here. The Buccaneers lead Minnesota. 3rd and 5.
You know, I heard in that Indianapolis game that Edgerrin James didn't start. He has a bad knee or something.
Yeah. Pass complete from King to Moore, and that'll be enough for a first down.
Well, Sean King got that one in. That's one of the things that they're talking about. Sean King was saying that, you know, when we get down there, we have to score. They've done that already. And 3rd down. You know, when we get in 3rd down, we have to be able to convert. And you see, here's Moore right here as tight end. Sean King in the shotgun. Moore starts to the outside. King has great protection. Moore starts to the outside and then runs that diagonal to the inside.
Stopped by Dwayne Rudd.
The key to that one was the pass protection, the time Sean King had.
Here's King again with time. Flag on the play. Keyshawn Johnson, the intended receiver.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Pat, because the ball was tipped.
Yep.
So you can't have pass interference on a tipped ball. You can't have defensive holding.
Yes,
though.
you can.
Defensive holding means automatic first down. I think one of the things that Sean King has to do is not only pass the ball, but get it to the outside.
Defense number 24. A 5-yard penalty with an automatic first down.
Called against Robert Griffith.
Yeah, we talked about John Lynch being one of the best strong safeties in football. Robert Griffith is another one of the best strong safeties in football. In fact, I think in this game, we probably have 2 of the best strong safeties in all of football.
If there are big plays made by the Minnesota defense, he usually is involved.
See, Robert Griffith, he has the defenses on his wrist. He has a wristband.
That's Warwick Dunn. Near a Buccaneer person, Orlando Thomas. He is quick.
I'll tell you, he can hit a hole in those feet. He can really go.
Key inactive, Johnny McWilliams, the backup tight end, John Burrow, Bryce Pop. Their ace pass rusher, Carl Williams for the Buccaneers, the punt returner. Howell with a bad knee.
Watch Carl Williams at practice on Friday, and he's starting to look a little better. He's not ready to play today, but Tony Dungy says that he thinks he'll have him next week.
It's first down, Tampa Bay. Riddell Anthony makes the reception from King and heads down the sideline, gets another Buccaneer first down at the Minnesota 23.
Les Steckel, the offensive coordinator, is getting a good mixture going here. A good mixture of pass and run, different guys. He gets Riddell Anthony in there, the 3rd wide receiver, just throws him a little swing pass, and he gets out and up the field. Watch him, you see, he comes in motion, which gives them 3 receivers to that side, and they start to block downfield. See, that's one of the things that Keyshawn Johnson does. You know, they all talk about, you know, how many passes you catch, touchdowns, and these types of things, but he is also a very good blocker downfield.
1 rush, 6 passes for Tampa Bay so far. Dunn is wide open. Dunn touchdown. How did he get so open? I mean, nobody in the picture with him. Warwick Dunn must have felt lonely out there.
I'll tell you, Sean King saw him, and he had time to get him the ball. Watch Warwick Dunn. And you're going to see it right here now. It has to be the linebacker that's going to get him. He gets picked a little there. It was a legal pick. He got caught up.
Yep.
You see that end? He tried to take away the end, and in taking away the end, he just let Warwick Dunn go up on that swing.
Dramatica's extra point is good. It's 14-3, Tampa Bay.
Here's Warwick Dunn. Here's Ed McDaniel. Man-to-man here, man-to-man here. He has man-to-man here. He tries to help in here, and Warwick Dunn gets to the outside. Watch him. You see right there, Ed McDaniel stops right there, and that is why Warwick Dunn was so wide open. He tried to help to take away the end, and if you're playing man-to-man on Warwick Dunn, you better get your running shoes on and get your hat and get out there.
There can't be any hesitation, can there? This is Mo Williams this time from 2 yards deep in the end zone. The Buccaneers are down in a hurry. And the tackle made quickly by Rondé Barber. Great views you're seeing of the play on the field are being brought to us today by Monster.com's Blimp Trump. Monster.com operates 2 blimps in the U.S. This blimp is 165 feet long and is 55 feet tall. Doesn't look that big, does it?
Well, yeah, that's a big old thing. But the blimp's looking down there and saying, you know, Randy Moss hasn't caught a pass yet. They've thrown him 2, but that's the thing Tony Dungy said. The last thing he said,
let him beat us.
We can't let him beat us. We have to keep him under control. They have thus far.
1st and 10 at the 18. Culpepper operates in the shotgun this time and throws to Randy Moss. For a game break, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Pat and John, the Monday night hangover for Miami continues. A pass interference call in the end zone set up this play here by Dorsey Levens, who takes it across for the score. It is now 10-0 Green Bay in the second quarter play. Pat Summerall, John Madden.
Thank you, JB. 2nd and 1 for the Vikings, but the Buccaneers leading 14-3. Lynch sneaks up.
And Culpepper's trying to change the play. Then Lynch backed off. That's the old cat and mouse game in there.
No blitz.
Yeah.
Culpepper finds Kleinsaucer. Gets the first down, stopped by Brian Kelly.
And that was an interesting thing. You know, you see what happens is they want to throw when John Lynch comes up. So if you watch John Lynch here, he's going to come up. You see, he walks up. Now, when John Lynch is up, they would like to throw the ball. You see Culpepper right here, he changes the play. He changes the play. John Lynch backs off, and instead of going up there, they go to a zone defense. You see, he's looking out there, and now they're in that cover 2 zone.
Did you see Brooks let the lineman know that there'd been a change? Fake reverse. Screen pass to Smith. Robert Smith's got a lot of speed. He is tripped up by Donnie Abraham.
That was a heck of a tackle by Donnie Abraham, because Robert Smith can run.
Oh, he's got great speed.
He really had this sideline down here. That was an interesting play. Fake reverse left, screen right. Hey, we're seeing more screens this year than I can remember in the history of the NFL. And the defenses are playing them better and better, and the offenses are getting a lot more creative with them.
Because they're seeing so many, they play them better. Smith. Got 4 or 5, maybe?
Yeah, see, it's a lot different when John Lynch is back there, not making the thing that he's the only guy, because the Bucs do have great linebackers, too. I mean, Derek Brooks, Shelton Quarles is a good one. Jamie Duncan's playing well in the middle. But if they're going to really stop the run for no gain, John Lynch has to be it. So now let's watch the play, and then down here in the right-hand corner, let's watch and see what John Lynch does. Because he's playing a cat and mouse game with Dante Culpepper.
2nd and 5. Culpepper has the ball knocked loose again. He's saying the arm was going forward. That's Warren Sapp with the ball. He's run down by Culpepper. I don't see any flags, and I didn't hear any whistles.
No, there were no flags. There were no whistles. It's the Vikings ball. It's the Bucs ball on the 10-yard line, but Dante Culpepper was trying to say that his arm was going forward. He was arguing with the referee, and he won't have any of it. Watch Warren Sapp again with his speed. He just goes there, and he just went for the ball again.
And got the ball.
He got the ball and picked it up. Now, Dante Culpepper said that should be an incomplete pass, not a fumble, because his arm is going forward.
He stopped to argue.
Going forward, I don't think it is.
No.
I think he started to go forward, and I think Sapp stopped the arm from going forward. I tell you, Warren Sapp is having a heck of a first quarter. He's going to have 14 points himself right here. Just watch the burst and the speed that he has as he comes off that block right there, knocks the ball off,
The ruling on the field that the
and then he picks it up and runs it. And what Dante Culpepper was arguing about, they are going to challenge right now.
Yep. That his arm was going forward. It didn't look like it.
If his arm is going forward with the ball in it, then it could be an incomplete pass.
He'll lock it over to look in the box. This is a Minnesota challenge.
Warren Sapp is really dominating in that defensive line. He did it once on one side to Lucina, and that time it was the right guard, David Dixon, that he got.
It looks like Culpepper was bringing the ball down. He is saying, obviously, that his arm is going forward as if he were going to throw it, but it looks like he's bringing it down, not to throw it.
Yeah, it started. I mean, he started to see, he's bringing it back. And then, I don't know, maybe just that little glimpse, maybe it was going forward a little. It looked like just as the ball started to go forward, it was knocked out. Again, it has to be indisputable because they did call it on the field. It was called a fumble. And I don't know that there's going to be any indisputable evidence here. I mean,
I'm glad you didn't forget that word.
Well, I had like 3 or 4 weeks where I couldn't remember it. Then I remember it. Then it kind of locked up in there. But Tony Dungy really has his guys ready today, and you could just feel it Friday and Saturday, couldn't you? And talking to the players, and this is a team that has lost 4 games in a row. And usually when you lose, you also lose your confidence.
But they were confident.
Yeah, I didn't have the feeling that they lost their confidence. I don't have the feeling that they're going to lose this challenge either.
Remember back during the offseason when Denny Green first started to make all Culpepper would be the starter? Everybody thought he'd probably lost his mind.
Yeah, and there was no way. And there was no way that they were going to have this kind of year. Dante Culpepper could do these kinds of things. Dante Culpepper's explaining to Chris Carter how his arm was going forward.
This is a long look.
Well, he's trying. I mean, it's a tough look because he's trying to get an angle where he can really see it. I didn't feel that it was going forward. I do not think that they will reverse that call.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think they will either. But the Vikings think they will.
Well, they don't look like it. I mean, I think if they thought they were, they'd have their offense back in the field, because if they really thought that it was, they wouldn't be sitting on the bench. You wouldn't see Dante Culpepper sitting down. He'd be ready to throw, because if they win the challenge, it's going to be their ball.
This is an unusually long time before they arrive at a decision.
After reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was coming forward. Incomplete pass. Results in 3rd down. Please reset the clock to 29 seconds. Minnesota is not.
Culpepper said that he was right. He argued that.
Yep.
I don't know how that could be indisputable. I didn't see it, but tell you one thing, Culpepper, he did 2 things after this play. Watch him chase Warren Sapp down here, and watch, he goes for the strip too, and watch how he takes Sapp down. Then Sapp knows he's coming. Sapp's looking back there and tries to straight arm him. But Dante Culpepper, right after that, he did the big thing. He jumped up and started telling the official that his arm was going forward. Then he got Denny Green to challenge it, and they won that challenge.
He did that before he ever started to pursue Warren Sapp.
Okay, all right.
And then he did it after he tackled Warren Sapp.
3rd down and 6. Minnesota has the ball. The challenge is upheld.
Ooh.
3rd and 6. 29 seconds left in the 1st quarter. Culpepper back to throw it. Matthew Hatchett makes the catch, and that's
Culpepper's pass complete.
Well, you're talking about a turnaround. I mean, the Buccaneers had the ball and they were going in for a score. They get a reversal, and now the Vikings get the ball back. Culpepper throws. They get a first down. You know, these things happen in these rivalry games, the divisional battles. They play each other twice. Tony Dungy used to coach with Denny Green. They know each other so well. They're always tight games.
That's the end of the first quarter with the score Tampa Bay 14, Minnesota 3. Fox NFL Sunday from Tampa Bay will continue after these messages. Minnesota has the ball, 14-3. They trail Tampa Bay. We begin the second quarter. 14-3 Buccaneers. Here's Culpepper back to throw. To Smith.
Culpepper's pass
About 4.
complete to Smith.
Donnie Abraham on the stop.
Let's go back to the challenge play again. Now what the rule is if the arm is coming forward, either to throw the ball or even to tuck the ball in. If it's coming forward, it's an incomplete pass before the ball comes out of his hand. So he has to have the ball in his hand and come forward either to throw the ball or to tuck the ball away. So the only thing I can think of is they said that his arm was coming forward to tuck the ball. But I still don't think so. I think that the ball came out before the arm came forward to do anything.
Well, it was Phil Tuckett, or Luckett, sorry, who made the ruling.
Well, yeah, he saw something, but I'm sure that he did the tuck rule that was coming down to tuck.
In the first quarter, the statistics. The time of possession heavily in Minnesota's favor, but the Buccaneers lead at 14-3. The Vikings at the 33-yard line of Tampa Bay. 3rd and 3. Here comes Lynch sneaking up again. Now backs away. Now sneaks up again. Pass incomplete. I'm not sure Randy Moss and Carter were in the same place.
Yeah, so that has to be a receiver's mistake. But again, it's probably an audible because when we see John Lynch up here, we know that when he's up, Dante Culpepper wants to throw the ball. See, this is the situation they want to throw against. So they see him up, they audibleize, and I would say that one of the receivers out here didn't hear the audible because one runs a short out and the other one runs a hook, and the Vikings are going for it on 4th down.
They need 3. Carter moves in motion. Here comes the blitz, and they're coming in a hurry. They got rid of it. Chris Carter.
That was a good call there by the Vikings because what happened is one of the things that the Tampa Bay team does well is they block field goals. So the longer the field goal, the lower the trajectory. So you don't want to kick a long field goal. You don't want to punt. And so what they're doing here, the Bucs are just coming on an all-out blitz. Culpepper's back there, and again, so big, so strong, can see everything and just get rid of it.
And got rid of it for a first down.
I know the reason they went for that is they didn't want to try a field goal.
Fake to Robert Smith. Here's Culpepper looking for outside room. Gets it and throws it out of the end zone. Into the stand.
2nd down 10 at the 25.
Look at this from the ump cam. Let's watch this 4th down play. Now they're going to try and get the blitz. Look at it. They got 3 guys coming straight up the middle. Culpepper, that's what he sees, and he just steps up and throws the ball. That's pretty good. I mean, that's why a guy like Chris Carter is so valuable. In those types of situations, all-out blitz, just find an opening and let your quarterback see you.
That's exactly what he did. He ducked under a couple of Tampa Bay defenders.
Here comes the audible again.
Yep.
As he saw the blitz.
Has he got time? He gets rid of it. Throws up the middle to Chris Carter. Carter inside the 10, out of bounds at about the 7.
For a young, they're coming up, they're coming off, they're blitzing him, they're showing him all these different defenses, and he's audibleizing and finding out. Now, it looks like to me that when they come on a blitz, You see, he sees him blitz and see audible to the right, then go audible to your left, and then come back. Looks like to me when he sees a blitz, he's looking for Chris Carter.
Yep.
And that's not a bad deal.
That's not a bad person to look for. First and goal. Culpepper fires end zone. Handed by Randy Moss. One-handed. He never puts a hand on the ball.
Randy Moss is amazing. This guy is amazing. And I say you take all the quarterbacks out, and who's the best player in all of football? I think it's Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
And watch this play out here. I mean, he's right down here at the bottom. He just runs a quick fade. They just throw it up there, and he catches it with one hand. You don't have a chance. I mean, if you're a defender, you don't have a chance. I mean, he's just going to, you know, I mean, he can jump, he can run, he can do all those things. And he didn't even bring that left hand in there to help him run it in.
That's going to make some highlight films, a lot of them. Well, it should.
I'll tell you, this guy is something. Both of these guys are something.
That's amazing. The pink flamingos.
Is there an animal with skinnier legs than a flamingo?
Well, there might be. I'm not sure what it is. They can wade in deep water, I know that. Mitch Berger's kickoff sails 8 yards deep into the end zone to Aaron Stecker.
Touchback.
And Tampa Bay takes over at the 20. 14-10 the score. Buccaneers lead. National figure skaters in the world as they compete in the Grand Slam super teams of skating. Brian Boitano, Katarina Witt, Brian Orser, Nicole Bobick headline a star-studded field of Olympic and world champions. Round one of the Grand Slam super teams of skating later today on Fox. Check your local listing.
You know, that was an interesting set of decisions that Denny Green made on that last drive for the touchdown. First of all, to challenge, win the challenge, and then go for it on 4th down and pick up the conversion.
Sean King looking deep for Keyshawn Johnson and finding him. Right now, let's send you down to DJ Johnson.
You know, sometimes when you're struggling as an athlete, you need someone to set you down, talk to you, and relax you. Well, this past Wednesday, Keyshawn Johnson went to Sean King's house to do just that. He said he told the struggling young quarterback that there are people here for a specific reason. Get the ball in the hands of your best players and let them work their magic. Everyone looks good in the end. I tell you what, if the first quarter is any indication, this magic show is getting rave reviews. Back up to you, Pat and John.
All right, DJ, that's Warwick Dunn. Flashes into the secondary, and Dunn still on his feet. Dunn to about the 22-yard line. Stopped by Dwayne Rudd, finally.
Doesn't get into a great matchup down there with Orlando Thomas, the free safety. First of all, he's so quick. You know, you think that he has to run outside all the time, but Warwick Dunn is a great inside runner. He does that trap. He runs off Middleton's back, but watch right here. He has Orlando Thomas there. He makes that move on him and then runs right through him. You know, it all started off, though, with a good trap block by Frank Middleton, the big left guard.
36-yard gain for Warwick Dunn and the Buccaneers. This is Allstott this time. He just gets back to the line of scrimmage. Kylie Wong first to hit him.
Just watch Warwick Dunn on that run again. See that trap block there? But watch Dunn's feet. I mean, they never stop moving. I mean, they're going, but they're not always going forward. I mean, sometimes they're going right, sometimes they're going left, sometimes they're going up, sometimes they're going down. But that's the key to a great running back. You always keep your feet going.
Boy, that's a perfect illustration.
See that move that he put in for Orlando Thomas?
Allstott is deep. King back to throw it. Lofting in the end zone. Touchdown Moore. The Buccaneers strike back. Dave Moore, the tight end.
Denny Green saying, what in the heck happened to my defense? First of all, Warwick Dunn gets him on a run, then Sean King throws a perfect pass to Dave Moore. That's Dave Moore. He just comes off the line. Good pass protection. Sean King just leads him out there perfectly. Closest guy to him was the middle linebacker, Kylie Wong.
Grammatica's extra point is good, and the Buccaneers now lead it 21-10. Didn't take long. NFL Sunday begins with J.B. Terry, Howie, and Chris on America's favorite pregame show. And it's a key NFC East matchup as the Cowboys look to move into the playoff picture against an Eagle team looking to keep pace in the NFC East. Or the Redskins battle the Cardinals, plus other regional matchups. All right here on Fox starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific next Sunday. Check your local listing.
Yeah, we talked earlier in the game how Sean King had to put it on his shoulders early in the game, and he has sure done that, throwing 3 touchdown passes so far.
Career high for him. Culpepper to Randy Moss. Picked up 5. That scoring drive by Tampa Bay didn't take long. 4 plays, 80 yards.
And when Randy Moss was a rookie, they said that he wouldn't go inside. He was always an outside, but that's all they asked him to do. And they kept him outside, and he ran everything from the outside, an all outside pattern. And last year he started to run some slot and some inside, and now he has the full weapons, as he says. And he goes inside, outside, cross, anything you want. Randy Moss does it now.
He's made believers out of everybody.
This will probably be an audible to a run.
Yeah, that's Robert Smith.
You see what they're doing again. It's when the safeties, the 2 safeties are back, they want to run. When 1 safety is back, they want to pass. So you see, there's 2 safeties back here. There's a safety here, and there's another safety back there. This is a running situation. See, when John Lynch is back, they want to run. When either one of the safeties are up, that's when they want to pass it.
Derek Brooks made the stop. 3rd and 3. Culpepper from the shotgun. Here comes the blitz. They almost make it. The pass is picked off by Brooks. Brooks down the sideline. Brooks in the end zone. The Buccaneers add another. Sheldon Quarles applied the pressure, and Brooks got the interception. 34-yard touchdown Gallup.
I'll tell you, you have to give it to Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator. He has a game plan. He's either going to be off or he's going to go after him. And they kept blitzing and blitzing and blitzing, and finally Culpepper throws them one.
Well, you can almost hear Monty Kiffin saying, after all, he is a rookie.
Sheldon Quarles comes up there. He's right there in his face, and he throws it to Derek Brooks.
Actually, he's not a rookie. He's in his 2nd year. He didn't play last year.
He's a rookie as a player.
Yep.
I tell you, it's a great game plan defensively by the Buccaneers.
Brooks' first touchdown. He's a heck of a player. 7:58 left in the first half. Pat Summerall, John Madden. That's Derek Brooks, who just scored on the interception for the Bucs. Grammatica set to kick it off. Troy Walters back deep in the end zone. Short kick from Grammatica. Walters to the 28.
Yeah, we talk about the defense of the Bucs. What they're going to do is either rush or they're going to zone. You look, they get 1, 2, 3, 4 guys coming against 3. So they're going to have an extra guy. You block him, boom, here comes a free guy. So what they do is they load up on one side, bring 4 against 3, drop the end on the other side, and they are going to rush Dante Culpepper, and at some point make him throw when he doesn't want to or to whom he doesn't want to. And he did both on that play. Look at that. Of the 30 defensive plays, 10% or 10 of them have been pressure defenses or blitzes thus far.
1st and 10 Minnesota from their own 28. Culpepper drops the throw. Pointing downfield. Now he's going to take off with it. To about the 48. Viking first down.
Dante Culpepper on the run. Brought down by Warren Sapp.
Yeah, it was interesting that what the Bucs did on that last defense batters where they ran a line stunt. I don't think that works against Culpepper. I mean, I like their other plan where they're either going to pressure him with a blitz or they're going to
lane, and he's going to take off.
And the way the Bucs defensive line is playing, they don't need line stunts.
That's right. Play this one straight away. Chris Carter claiming he was held. He was also doubled. No flag. We talked with Warren Sapp yesterday about all-pro linebacker Derek Brooks.
The best player I've ever played with, no doubt about it. I've known him a decade now. You know, me and him had some good battles in college with Miami and Florida State, and we came here together and said, you know, let's turn this thing around. You know, he's not accustomed to losing, and nor am I. And we got to put ourselves in a position where we were going to get better as players every day that we stepped out on that field.
I don't know how you.
And now he's played with a lot of poise, Dante Culpepper is. I mean, there's going to be a point that he may get rattled here, you know, because they're starting to hit him now. They got the interception, they got the blitz, and sometimes when you get the blitz and then they fake the blitz, it's not coming. Your timing still plays like it's a blitz, and it's not. These are things that, you know, Culpepper hasn't seen some of this stuff.
28-10, Tampa Bay leads Minnesota, 3rd and 10. 2 for 5 on third down conversions so far. From the shotgun. Again, the pressure. Carter comes down with it.
How in the heck did Chris Carter catch that ball?
It depends on how he marks it, whether or not he got the first.
It looks like it's inside the first down marker where he put his left foot. Left foot usually means a first down. Right foot is back, but it looks like it's just inside that. But Denny Green has already gone for 1 4th down, and I would anticipate he'll do it again.
It's 4th down.
And Culpepper made a great throw, throwing it away from the defender, and then Chris Carter make a great catch by adjusting to it. So he just threw the ball away from the defender, and then Chris Carter used his body and his hands. This could be a big play here.
It's 4th and short. Not quite 2.
The Vikings are confused. They're going to take a timeout.
Now they have to take a timeout.
Yep, you don't want to be going for it on 4th down confused.
And not be sure. The Buccaneers lead the Vikings 28-10. .37 left in the first half. 28-10. Tampa Bay over Minnesota. Vikings just used a timeout. Dante Culpepper over to talk to Denny Green. They're going for it on 4th and 1.
Denny Green, the head coach, of course, the offensive coordinator, Sherm Lewis. And, you know, the Minnesota Vikings have 2 new coordinators, Sherm Lewis on offense and Emmett Thomas on defense, both coming over from the Green Bay Packers last year. Sherman Lewis having to make this call. It would be tough to pick it up in a run.
They had a lot of people up there. Culpepper's going to throw it. Incomplete. Lynch very close to Culpepper just as he let it go.
And I'll tell you, they're just not going to let him have any holes. They're not going to let him have any soft spots to run. They're going to blitz him. They're going to put pressure on him and make him throw when he doesn't want to, and throw in lanes that he doesn't want to, as that last play. This is very, very aggressive defense by Tampa Bay today.
Good coverage.
When this is kind of like the Bucs of last year. You know, when we saw them and went all the way to the championship game. There's Monty Kiffin, the old defensive coordinator, calling those plays. He got his plays in his back pocket. You see in his right back pocket, and he never even looks at them. He doesn't have to. It's all in his head. That's put up in his head. That's the days of Nebraska, I think.
King fakes and throws. Has Keyshawn Johnson, and Keyshawn loses his shoe. I guess it's his. But makes the catch and moves the sticks.
Yep. Watch Keyshawn Johnson. He's here. He's going to run. Instead of running a slant, he gets that inside position, and then he comes back to Chris Dishman to hold him enough and then run away from him. So that looked like a slant. Then he comes back in, and then he makes a deep cross out of it. That's a pretty good pattern.
And King picked him out.
And the Bucs have to do more of that. Stretch that defense, get more of a vertical passing game, and they're doing that in this first half.
Vikings showing blitz as King drops back and fires pass. Flag on the play. Intended for Anthony.
And that's in the area of offensive holding.
Yes.
Someone said, where was he the last series? Because he didn't have time to hold. They got all the reasons they couldn't hold, but they had to get rid of the ball quickly on that slant.
Holding offense, number 73. 10 yards, penalty, repeat. First down.
That's Frank Middleton. He's a right guard. In fact, I think he's the best player on this offensive line. He was the guy that made that trap block earlier. He's blocking down. Yeah, that looks okay. You got to let him do that. A guy takes you inside, you have to collapse him. That's all Middleton did.
Hold in a second. Moves the ball back a little bit.
And they got Randall McDaniel, Jeff Christie also. You're playing for the Minnesota Vikings, now playing left guard and center for the Bucs. But I think Frank Middleton is the best of that group right now.
First and 20. High over the head of Jaquez Green. He looks like, you watch him in practice, he doesn't look like he could hold up to the rigors of the NFL.
I saw him earlier. You know, we talked about Randall McDaniel. Remember the stance, the way he does that. He started when he had a bad knee. He doesn't even put his left foot in the ground. He has his right foot in the ground and his left ankle. And then he plays off that. He doesn't have the knees anymore. He's playing too straight-legged, but he is very, very strong in his arms, hands, and shoulders.
Second and 20. Here comes the Vikings showing blitz, and here they come. King deep. Incomplete. Intended for Green again.
Yeah, that was one of the matchups that they wanted to do, is they wanted to get Jaquez Green over there on Robert Tate. Remember, Robert Tate is the guy that was a wide receiver, and they made a defensive back out of him a year ago. The Bucs think that if they're man-to-man coverage, that they could work on him. And the matchup that they like is Jaquez Green against Robert Tate. They just got it that time, and Robert Tate won it.
Third and 20. Buccaneers leading 28-10.
Hard to get a first down here, but they can get in field goal range.
And it's caught up the middle by Green this time, and he gets down to about the 28, and you're exactly right.
Yeah, that was a good play, and I think they have to kick the field goal here, see, because they're third and 20. You don't have a lot of plays for third and 20, but if you get the defense playing soft like that for 20 yards, you can get enough for a field goal, and that's exactly what they did.
Martin Gramatica, who can certainly get it there. Mark Royals, who's the punter, who has been inactive today.
47-yard attempt.
In that he's not on the inactive list, but he hasn't had any activity. 47 yards away for Gramatica. Started off slowly, but that's got plenty behind it. That would have gone 20 rows into the stand. Lovely. The series USA Today called The Monday Show to Watch. Catch an all-new episode tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, followed by an all-new Ally McBeal. Fox Monday.
You know, that 31 points,
Yep.
that ties the team record for points and a half. The last time they did that was against Chicago in 1996. You don't think that Tampa Bay is a high-scoring
No,
team.
you don't.
They're on record to score about 70 points. And you think of them since Tony Dungy has been here. you know, a ball control team, a running team, a good defense, opportunistic. But Sean King, we said earlier that he has to do it, and he has to do it early. And look at those 9 out of 13, 3 touchdown passes he had, because Minnesota would gang up on the run if he didn't do that.
Roy Walters back deep for Minnesota at the 2. Chased out of bounds. The special teams, the coverage teams, the kickoff coverage team, particularly for Tampa Bay, has done an outstanding job.
Yes, they've all, and their defense, that combination of the coverage teams and defense, have all done a great job. I mean, you know, they're all good tacklers and everything. Remember, we had that one picture where Robert Smith ran, and there were 11 Buccaneers around him, and it seems like on the kick there's 11 guys there. I mean, they're just swarming to the ball and gang tackling. This is the way defensive football is supposed to be played.
1st and 10 at the 25, and they fake to Robert Smith, and Culpepper goes incomplete. They thought for a minute, the crowd did at least, that it was picked off by Donnie Abraham. It was not.
Yeah, it looked like it went right through Randy Moss's hand.
Yeah. Which is rare in itself.
That's Randy Moss there. In fact, he took his eyes off it. He was looking. Well, when you see number 47 and you see Brooks 55 out there coming, you do sneak a peek.
You should sneak a peek.
Randy Moss sneaked a peek on that one.
Culpepper drops the throw, is chased, gets it out to Matthew Hatchett, and Hatchett will get a first down for Minnesota.
Now, you always talk about the wide receivers of the Vikings, and you know, Chris Carter, the guy that's been around so long, you know, a great receiver. Randy Moss, one of the best players in football, and then Matthew Hatchett is pretty good here too.
He is.
And when they go 3 wide receivers, that is a very good formation for them, because their 3rd wide receiver is going to be better than any 3rd corner you can play, unless you're the Washington Redskins. Look at the pressure on Dante Culpepper so far. Hurried 8 times, hit 8 times.
Smith taken down behind the line of scrimmage by Anthony McFarland. There was question earlier in the week about whether or not he'd be able to play, but he apparently got well.
Yeah, he had a quadriceps thing, and Warren Sapp told him, he said, hey, you know, he said, when we got rid of Brad Culpepper and you got the job for the whole season.
You got to step up.
He said, yeah, you can take a day off practice or 2 days off practice, but when Sunday comes, you better be right here lined up to me, next to me right there. Those two look a lot alike, too, don't they?
They sure do. On 2nd down, here comes the blitz, and Culpepper stands in there and bounces it out to Carter. Incomplete.
Yeah, he had that. I mean, sometimes you start to see or feel ghosts, because that time there was really no pressure on him. There was a blitz.
It is
a pressure defense, but watch how well they pick it up. I mean, boom, boom, boom. They have everyone. Look at that pocket he has. He still throws the ball short.
Good pickup by Robert Smith.
You know, today, if you're going to play and be an every down back like Robert Smith is and wants to be, you have to be a good blocker. Because if you don't, they're just going to blitz where you have to block.
3rd and 10. Shotgun formation. Here's Culpepper. Drops it out to Robert Smith, and Smith gets the Viking first down. We get the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left, and Tampa Bay dominating the first half, 31-10. Stone. Bad-looking things in there.
Like what?
Well, like teeth and sabers and fangs and holes.
Well, Halloween's coming up on Tuesday.
That's true.
So they can start. You can have a Halloween party. You probably could rent that thing and have a Halloween party.
You could host a lot of people. Be a lot of trick and treat. Here comes the secondary sneaking up again, and here they come again. And incomplete.
Boy, this defense is getting more and more aggressive and playing with more and more confidence, aren't they?
Donnie Abraham on the coverage, and he's hurt.
You can see he's grabbing his left side there. But he makes a heck of a play here. See, Culpepper feels the pressure, has to get rid of the ball, and he just throws it out there, and Donnie Abraham gets a great jump on it.
Damian Robinson comes in.
He got his right hand in there. They're throwing it out there to Matthew Hatchett, but Donnie Abraham was right on that.
Dexter Jackson also. Culpepper to Smith. Over one, broke one. Got about 5. Brian Kelly up to make the stop.
And that is big not having Donnie Abraham in there because both of these corners, Donnie Abraham and Rondé Barber on the other side are very good tacklers. Brian Kelly is now playing that position for him.
Here's Culpepper, drops it out to Smith again. Singleton wrapped him up.
And that's a defense that, that they want to pass against again. Anytime they're soft and it's too deep like that, Culpepper can get to this.
Minnesota has 1 timeout remaining.
Checking Donnie Abraham's rib, doesn't it?
Coming up on the Visa halftime report, J.B. Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league. And our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stats. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. I guess it'll shock those guys back in Los Angeles, the score of this game.
But, the only thing is if you look at the Buccaneers have won 4 out of the last 5 games here. That's an indicator. A Tony Dungy team, is never going to let down all the way. They were 3-4 a year ago and went to the championship game. So they've been in this situation and they've had success from it. So that gives them a little confidence, and that's the confidence that they're playing with today.
And the track record, of course, is that they usually split the 2 games.
I think they split every time since Tony Dungy has been with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay and Minnesota have split every year.
On first down, Culpepper. Incomplete. No flag. Mo Williams was the intended receiver.
That's the thing about Derek Brooks there. He's a complete linebacker. A lot of times, I think maybe with the advent of Lawrence Taylor, we started thinking of linebackers as blitzers and sackers and all that stuff. But sometimes you have the complete linebacker that if you need him to blitz, he can do that. He can play the run. If you need a pass coverage, he can do that. And that's just what Derek Brooks did in that last play.
You heard Warren Sapp a minute ago say he's the best player I ever played with.
That's about as high as you can get, isn't it?
Here comes the blitz again. Culpepper comes out of the pocket. Knocked out of bounds at about the 30. Dexter Jackson.
And to see what Culpepper did that time, that was the overload. They're bringing those blitzes like we showed earlier, where they outman you on one side, and it's on his left side. So the blitz is going to come here, so they're going to get 4 on 3 here. He feels that, and he runs to that side, which isn't a bad thing to do. Watch. You see the overload back here on this side? He just runs away from it.
3rd and 7. Just over a minute left in the first half. They show blitz again. From all different kind of places, and Culpepper stays in and throws, and a man, Randy Moss, is wide open. He steps out of bounds at about the 16.
That's the time they have that one key. When Damian Robinson, the free safety, comes up, that's the time that they want to go to Randy Moss. Now, they have him short here, but they would like to be getting him deep. He just runs out there and doesn't do anything.
Yep.
And he just stops and they just throw him the ball. That's exactly what they're looking for. But when they get the free safety up here and they have John Lynch here, that's when they want to throw. They'd like to throw to Moss, but they'd rather throw to him deep. The corner's way off, so Randy Moss just stopped, and they just hit him out here.
Brian Kelly was really giving him a lot of room.
Brian Kelly has to be scared to death of Randy Moss, especially in that area.
The blitz is there, and Culpepper is down. Rondé Barber this time.
Rondé Barber has a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's something. You talk about the you know, how well the Bucs have blitzed today, but their timing is really good. And then, as I said earlier, they're all good tacklers, and that's a pretty good package.
2nd and 12. No blitz this time. Just a 4-man rush. Incomplete, intended for Carter.
Culpepper's pass intended for Carter. Incomplete. Dexter Jackson on the coverage.
Dexter Jackson, the cover man for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Dexter Jackson comes in as the 5th or 6th defensive back. I was talking to Herman Edwards yesterday, and he said he wants to get him more and more in the game. See, the Tampa Bay defense has been 48 plays, and at least 16 of them have been pressure defenses, and that's been the big key in his first half, is either pressure him, go after him, or lay off and play the zone.
3rd and 12, Culpepper back in the shotgun, and here they come again. His throw is incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down. The word on Donnie Abraham is that he has pulled a rib muscle. You were saying they were looking at his ribs. He'll be evaluated at halftime, and whether or not he comes back, we'll just have to wait and see.
That is pretty big.
Yeah, it is.
We just had a picture there of Herman Edwards. We're talking about Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator, and Herman Edwards is the assistant head coach and defensive backfield coach. He does a great job with these defensive backs.
Anderson with Berger holding is perfect. And the Vikings add 3 from 37 yards away. 31-13. 20 seconds left. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, J.V. Terry, Howie, and Chris will have scores and highlights from around the league, and our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second stat. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report.
You know, Howie and Terry get a haircut every 4 days. I know that.
Who does?
Howie and Terry, both of them. I mean, it's been 4 years for Warren Sapp, but it's 4 days for Howie and Terry.
I can understand Howie, but what do they cut on Terry?
Every 4 days, whatever's there, they just get rid of. But that doesn't look like 4 years of
No,
growth.
it doesn't. But he said, if I wear it out, whatever out is, it stands up about a foot in each direction.
They played great this first half.
Yeah, they did.
Next Sunday.
Motioning, the Vikings, of course, motioning in the other direction, and it is holding against Tampa Bay.
Holding.
Bill Bucket.
Team number 97. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Ioka Jackson called for holding.
You're going to see it's right here. Here's where Ioka Jackson is. You see that right hand there?
Yep.
You know, that's really tough. I mean, those guys, they're easy to see because they're out in the open, but it's a moving target that you can't hit below the waist. And if the guy moves at all, you're going to have an arm out there.
If you're going to hope to block him or stop him anyway.
I think this Minnesota defense now is going to have to start getting after Sean King. I mean, they're going to have to do some of the things that the Buccaneer defense did in the first half.
Back at their own 10-yard line, 1st and 10. King gets to Warwick Dunn. And Dunn gets out to about the 16 or 17. Let's send it down to D.J. Johnson.
In the first half, the Bucs coach Tony Dungy had but one complaint of his team: their inability to stop the Vikings on 3rd down. He says beside that, all they need to do is stay aggressive and play hard in the second half. Vikings coach Denny Green himself was very relaxed at the half. He said they simply need to make the Bucs punt. He said it's just like chopping wood. You take one swing at a time, and it all starts with a big stop. Back up to you, Pat and John.
Neither team has punted yet.
I think that's what Dennis talking about. You better get that big chop quickly.
Here's Dunn again. And he's got the first down. Got some room for the Bucs.
You know, here's one of the big things I think with it, and it's different from what the Bucs are doing, is you look at it. under 15 yards, Sean King is 0 for 1 to the left, 3 for 5 in the middle, 2 for 2 to the right. And usually that's their passing game. But today, this is the difference right here. He's 2 for 3 and 2 for 2 deep over 15 yards, and 2 of his touchdowns are thrown over 15 yards. Because I thought that they were just throwing too much short passing game. But they did a little more vertical in that first half.
Warwick Dunn fights his way up for about 4 yards, 5 maybe.
See, and now what you do is then you get Minnesota going in, and they're talking about the passing game and Sean King, and he threw 3 touchdown passes, and then they're thinking pass, and then you come back in the second half, and now you can run.
You heard the George Hegeman is an offensive tackle. You just heard Phil Luckett say he's eligible.
Yeah,
he'll be the end man on the line.
Yeah, he's just going to play tight end. They got 2 tight ends on this side.
And he decided to run in that direction, and that's all stop. He tried to pick his way, and the pursuit was too good as Ed McDaniel came up to make the stop.
I think that was just an invitation. Here we bring in George Hegeman, who weighs about 320 pounds. We put him at tight end. We put Mike Allstott in there. We put Patrick Hape, another tight end, and you know they're going to run.
Yeah.
they just
know where they're going to run.
Yeah. Well, you're going to run usually towards those guys that you just put in, and they did. And the Vikings were just sitting there waiting for them.
4 wide receivers set up this time for the Bucs. King in the shotgun.
Yep. You know, a name we haven't heard is John Randall.
That's right.
John Randall's been playing end, both left and right. He's over there at that right defensive end now.
False start, offense number 73. 5-yard penalty remains.
Jumped early.
You know, John Randall was such a devastating pass rusher and run player as a tackle. And I guess he was getting double teamed all the time, so they moved him out to left end. And now he played some left end, but he's over here at right end. He's over here at this position now.
3rd and 9. You heard Sean King saying check, 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 check to both sides of the field. Up the middle, incomplete. Flag on the play as Keyshawn Johnson, the intended target. Chris Dishman is saying, what? I didn't do anything.
Keyshawn Johnson did everything. When that pass went through, he clapped, he bowed,
yeah,
and he
pass
pointed.
Defense, number 25. That's an automatic. First down.
And that was a 3rd down, and Denny Green is still chopping wood because they still haven't stopped, and this will be an automatic first down. I think that was both a hold and pass interference.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at how the umpire saw it from behind, that's what he saw. Keyshawn really did get turned around on that.
He did.
Keyshawn's not wearing that sleeves underneath his jersey. Have you noticed that?
1st and 10, yeah. A couple of fumbles will do that to you. Here's King, the pass complete up the middle to Jaquez Green, who fumbles. And here comes Warwick Dunn. Where did he come from? Somebody shot him out of a gun back there, it looked like.
If they call that a complete pass, then it has to be a fumble, then a recovered fumble by Warwick Dunn, and the Buccaneers ball right there.
Forward progress was ruled. First down.
Oh, they said there's no fumble. They said the forward progress was ruled, that the ball came out after they blew the whistle. So there was no fumble. That was complete pass to Jaquez Green, and that was the end of the play.
1st and 10, Tampa Bay at their own 49. Here comes the blitz. Dunn looks. A flag on the play.
And that's again in the area of holding.
Yep.
Offensive holding.
It's exactly what it's going to be. Seems like the pace has slowed down here.
Well, the penalties. I mean, you know, that's
holding. Offense, number 64. 10-yard penalty, repeat. First down.
Or is Randall McDaniel.
Randall McDaniel holds quite a bit. I mean, I think if someone watched Randall McDaniel, you could almost call him holding on half the plays because
half
the plays. I think he has trouble bending his knees now, and he's so strong up above that he just puts those clamps on the guy and he gets outside their body.
Allstott comes out. Dave Moore comes in on 1st and 20. There's a handoff to Dunn. He doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage for a game break. Let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat and John, Miami used a little trickery, a fake punt that turned into a 45-yard gain, set up this 7-yard run by Lamar Smith, make that a 4-yard run. 21 unanswered points. I say the hangover is over for Miami. They're up by 4. Back to Pat and John.
Points will cure a hangover.
Yeah, but the game's not over either. I mean, the other night they were ahead 30-7. What happened to them?
2nd and 19 here at Raymond James Stadium. The handoff again to Warwick Dunn, who found a little room on the outside and was hit quickly and goes down at about the original line of scrimmage, which is the 49.
This guy's really something. I mean, you know, you look at him and you say that his size, he shouldn't be able to do this. Watch what they do to John Randall. They get him knocked out on that outside because he's going up the field, and then Warwick Dunn just gets right in behind and runs inside of him. They'll get John Randall here. He goes up the field. They start on a double. He works out. Not only does he work out, but he works up, and he just opens up that hole for Warwick Dunn.
3rd and 11. Anthony was the man in motion. Going deep. Keyshawn Johnson has it. There's a flag on the play. Robert Tate on the coverage.
Keyshawn Johnson said yesterday he wanted a chance at Robert Tate. He says, I want to get at that guy. Put me out there. Just throw me the ball, and I will get it. Look, he's going to tell Tate something right now. Better watch out. I mean, they still have that taunting rule.
Yep.
But see, he gave that signal about talking, and he said that Robert Tate was doing a lot of talking. I'm not sure exactly what the talking was or what he was saying about Robert Tate, but Keyshawn Johnson has to watch out that he doesn't do any taunting.
Defense number 28. The penalty is declined. The pass was complete for a first down.
Yeah, this is the biggest difference to me right here. It's not Keyshawn Johnson, but is the fact that Sean King is throwing the ball deep. You see that? You see what Keyshawn Johnson did? He took that right arm and just held off Robert Tate. And then the ball came right over his outside shoulder. Watch, you see the right arm, hold him, then push a little, then bring both hands in to catch it.
1st and 10, Tampa Bay. King back to throw.
There you go, good job.
Outside it goes to Anthony. A couple of jukes, and he gets down to about the 11.
That was all that Keyshawn Johnson could talk about yesterday was Robert Tate. He said, yeah, they're undefeated. He's doing all this talking. He said, just let me get a chance to get at him.
He wasn't too happy with Chris Carter either.
Look at this. The Buccaneer offense is the only team in the NFL to have scored on every red zone series. 13 touchdowns, 7 field goals. Put the flags up when they get inside the 20. They call it the green zone here.
That means go. And King is going to go to about the 6, and that should be enough to make it 1st and goal.
That's King here. He's going to run right at the umpire. We're the umpire now because we got the camera on him. Now watch King. You see that he's going to run right at us and then rub off us. You see, rub off and see if you can get an extra help there by running at the umpire and then getting the defender on one side and you go to the other side. Tight ends have used the umpire for years.
They got
a quarterback to start.
That's Allstott in motion, and here comes Warwick Dunn. Lost a yard or two.
Allstott better watch out. That was illegal. He was in motion. He was in motion going forward. You can go in motion, but you have to stay parallel. You can't go forward. And he was going to make a block on the end man in the line of scrimmage. See, but he's gaining ground. You see?
Yep.
And he was going forward there, and then he really didn't make the block anyway. You see him coming forward? That's illegal. There's Jerry Wunsch, the tackle, getting out there, making a little block.
2nd and goal. They lost a couple. Allstott's the deep back. The throw is to the end zone and incomplete. Intended for Anthony.
The thing that was really bothering, I know, talking to Sean King, was getting down here and not getting in the end zone, you know, for the touchdowns, and have to settle for field goals. And they thought that was one of the big things that they wanted to do today, was get down there and score touchdowns. And so far, you know, he's had 3 touchdowns, so that's not bad.
That's a career high. 12 out of 17, 8:21 left in the third quarter.
You know, the other thing they've done is they've taken off over 8 minutes off the clock this drive.
Allstott moves to his right. King moves to his right. And throws it away. They'll settle for that field goal.
And I think he's settling for just being able to jump up again.
John Randall.
John Randall was coming from that back side, and Sean King was going out there, and he ran out of real estate. Watch John Randall. He's on this side. He's going to come all the way across the field. He gets by Moore right there, comes all the way across the field. And I think that Sean King just fell and said, I better get rid of that ball, because he took a left hand to the head.
Gramatica will try from 26 yards away. He made it from 47. He's been on a hot streak. It continues. The Bucks 34, Minnesota 13 with 6:25 remaining in the third. Beautiful weather in this part of the country. And hey, at least it has been since we've been here.
You know, just looking at that group there, there's not a future NFL player.
You don't think so?
No. Not in that group.
I think I'd have to agree.
Big play by Keyshawn Johnson.
Yep.
You know, that he said that was the one he was waiting for, to get on Robert Tate and to get in a man-to-man situation. You know, that's where he's not the fastest receiver, but he's so big and so strong. You saw how he just played Tate off with his arm.
Just held him off until the pass got there. The penalty was overruled or refused.
What do you think happens to the tee after the ball's kicked by Gramatica?
I don't know. I guess somebody goes and gets it. This is Troy Walters to bring it out and taken down.
Does that somebody look like anyone you know?
Yeah.
Looks like a young Tony Dungy, doesn't
I
it?
recognize the gait.
His son Eric.
T on the left, and his son
Eric on the right. And you see, if you're going to do the job, you have to have good foot position, and then you have to have a good start. You see, you kind of jump start yourself. So you think it's easy just going out and getting that tee. There's a heck of a lot goes into that job.
High knee action. Here's Culpepper. Ducks under the sacker, gets the ball out to John Davis, the tight end. Perhaps heard the thump. That was John Lynch.
You know, John Lynch will bring most thumps. You know, you look at John Lynch. I mean, here he is. He was a baseball player, and he goes to Stanford. And he's a heck of a hitter, and he's a safety. He was a quarterback.
Quarterback, yeah.
In fact, Denny Green, the Viking coach, recruited him at Stanford as a quarterback. Also changed him to safety.
Wanted to make a linebacker out of it.
He had a choice, linebacker, free, or strong safety.
That's Smith, and he's been held in check. In fact, we talked to Warren Sapp, who usually has something to say about hard-hitting safety man John Lynch.
Look out. Call him Friendly Fire. He's a serious man. I mean, every day he comes to work, it's always work, work, work. Let's get better at what we're doing. The biggest hit I've seen since running lock. I mean, always in the right spot, will knock you out, and just brings a fire that you can't find in any other player.
He does bring a fire.
He calls him Friendly Fire. He kind of reminds me of Clean Dirt. I mean, the whole background, the looks and everything. I didn't think that guy won't hit like that, but he sure does.
Green pass to Smith. Picked up, good play by Ronde Barber for a game break. Let's send you back to James Brown in Los Angeles.
And what we're going to show you in Miami, Jeff Ogden fielding this punt on the run. Take a look at this, 81 yards to pay dirt. The ex-Cowboy puts it on as Miami is on top now, 28-17. Game now in the fourth quarter play. Back to Pat and John.
Seems like Green Bay has had coverage problems for a long, long time.
Green Bay and the 49ers are another team that has coverage problems for a long time.
3rd and 5. Here comes the blitz. Might have been offside.
Either that was timed perfectly.
Randy Moss makes the catch.
Well, we wondered about Donnie Abraham, whether he was going to be back or not. We got that answer, and
there he is.
He's getting more and more confident on Randy Moss. I mean, he was right up there tight on him. And, you know, they're going to let him catch those short ones and then come up and tackle him. That's what they do so well. I'll say that about Donnie Abraham and Ronde Barber, who made this point before. If you use that cover 2 at the out where you have the corners up, so your corners are up here, your corners are up over here. If they're going to be up, then they have the force on any run towards them, so they have to be good tackles.
Here's Culpepper back to throw it. Drops it outside. Smith makes the reception.
See that play that Donnie Abraham just made the tackle there? That's what they have to do. If you're playing cover 2, where your corners are the up guys, then your safeties and the good tacklers are back. You have to do it. Now, here's what it looks like. Here's what cover 2, we always talk about it. This is what it looks like. You got your offense there, and then you got your safeties and your corners. Now, the corners come up. The corners are up here, and the 2 safeties are deep. That's a cover 2. The 2 safeties each have half the field, and the corners are up bumping the outside receivers.
Again, they're showing blitz, and they must not have jumped, and they got almost there before Robert Smith got the ball and was taken down.
Yeah, Ronde Barber came on the blitz. They talk about the things that these corners do. They have to play the cover 2, and then that time Ronde Barber came from this left side. It looks like to me that they're attacking the left side of the Viking offenses on most of their blitzes. They're getting their overload or their blitz on that side, and of course that's where they have the new left guard. Todd Stussey's the left tackle, one of the better ones. I think they're attacking the left guard and the center on the blitzes.
Corbin Lucina. Culpepper throws up the middle, incomplete, intended for Chris Carter. Knocked down by Ronde Barber. And now we're going to look at the first punt of the day.
This was the thing these corners did on this thing. We saw Ronde Barber on the play before come on a blitz, and then we see him then on coverage, perfect coverage. He's right there at Chris Carter, and right at the end, he just put that right hand in and knocked the ball out.
Mitch Berger back to punt to Andre Hastings. And Berger, other than kicking off, hasn't punted all day. He's very good at this. Into the end zone, they'll bring it back to the 20. He has a very, very strong leg. 34-13. 1:37 left to go in the third.
Then you have your quarterback phone, running back phone, offensive line phone,
trainer phone,
defensive line phone, linebacker.
Warwick Dunn. And Dunn almost broke it. Taken down by Tate. Picked up 8 yards. He cut it back.
Warwick Dunn is really something the way he's running today. I mean, you just see, all you have to do is get a little movement. I mean, some of those guys aren't even blocked, and Warwick Dunn is still going to find a crack and get through it. I mean, he was running to that left side, and there were 2 guys that weren't blocked. He just stopped and went back the other way for a while.
Aaron Stecker has replaced Dunn. 2nd and 1. Stecker gets the carry. He gets some room and gets the first. Chris Dishman up to make the hit that stopped him.
Then the first half, 17 plays, 8 minutes time of possession. The last drive alone, 14 plays and 8 minutes, 35 seconds time of possession.
Warwick Dunn just went into the locker room.
Yeah, there was something right. You know, after he made that run, he came running off the field.
Yeah. And Stecker has replaced him. Here's King back to throw. And the pass is complete to Jaquez Green.
Yeah, we talked about confidence and how confident this team was yesterday, which really surprised me coming off of 4 straight losses. But The team was confident, and this guy here, Sean King, was very confident.
And that's the end of the third quarter with the score: the Buccaneers 34, the Vikings 13. Fox NFL Sunday from Tampa will continue after a word from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
NFL Sunday Ticket is brought.
The Buccaneers 34, Minnesota 13.
In the first half, the Vikings had 49 plays. The third quarter, they only had 7.
And the Bucs have the ball to begin quarter number 4 at their own 45. Stecker is still in Warwick Dunn's place. The Vikings are offside.
That's a free play.
Yep. It's picked off by Robert Griffin. But as you said, that's a free play.
Pass intercepted by Griffin.
And a free play, you still have to throw it to a receiver. I think he was, if you're going to get a free play, you want to throw it deep, but you hope that you have a receiver running deep.
Yeah,
he had a free play. Sean King threw it deep, but his receiver was running an out.
It always helps complete passes if you have a receiver.
Offside, defense, number 99. 5-yard penalty, repeat. First down.
Chris Hoban jumped.
You know, look at the heat down there. On the left is a shade, so it's a little less than 90 degrees in the shade. And in the sun, it's over 100 degrees. And that's what Warwick Dunn, remember when he came off the field, he was starting to cramp up. So he went in to get an IV.
Keyshawn Johnson in motion. That's all stopped. Warwick Dunn went to get an IV to help alleviate the cramps. And an IV is just simply putting fluid into the body intravenously.
Yeah, that's the quickest way. I mean, what you try and do is you have to build up your fluids before, in the days before, and then if you don't and you start to cramp, it's too late to just drink fluids. Then you have to take them intravenously.
Big George Hageman is eligible again. He just reported in.
This is going to be a run then, huh?
Yeah. It all holds true. This is Allstott. And Allstott breaks through a couple of tackles and lunges down across the 40 of Minnesota down to about the 37 or 38.
Big George Hageman points first down and comes running off the field like a warrior that just won a battle. George Hageman is the tight end right here.
He is big.
And then here's Mike Allstott. He's going to carry the ball. You see, they're going to have 2 tight ends over to that side. He gets a good lead block.
Yep.
Patrick Hape is the guy that made the block for him, number 82.
He sure did. Allstott remains the running back. Again, the Vikings show blitz. King back to throw it. Down the sideline, intended for Jaquez Green, incomplete right now for another game break. Let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Pat John, no quit in Detroit. Take a look at Desmond Howard. This is a customary sight. 80-yard punt return down to the 1. That set up a field goal by Jason Hanson. It is now 23-11. Detroit hanging in there. Third quarter play. Back to Pat and John.
We're in Tampa, where the surprising score of Tampa Bay 34, Minnesota 13. The last of the unbeaten teams is headed for the W column or the L column. Sean King down. Fred Robbins came in to make the stop. The Monster.com blimp Trump is providing us with these live aerial shots of the game today. Monster.com operates 2 blimps here in the United States. Trump is the name of the green monster of the front of the blimp. He is the flagship for Monster.com. Monster.
You can't beat having a blimp at a game.
A good old Monster blimp helps.
And there's no pigs on it. Did you read the story where a pig got on an airplane?
Yes.
Yeah. Sat in first class.
That's scary. Stecker. And Stecker gets very near a first down for the Bucs.
You got to watch out for this Tampa Bay team now. This may be just the thing that is going to hurdle them over the abyss, you know, and get them going again. Because Sean King sure looks confident. I mean, he didn't look good that last game against Detroit, and you started wondering, you know, is he the right guy? Should he still be playing? They don't have anyone else, but today he sure looks like the right guy.
It's 4th and short. Stecker didn't quite make it. You saw Big George Hageman check in again.
Yep, and then that means that he's eligible, but they're not going to throw the ball to old George Hageman.
Allstott is deep. He gets the carry. Now, I don't know if he got it or not. Maybe. He's close.
George Hageman is going and standing over him.
I'd be
you know where they're
terrified.
coming. I mean, the guy you read on that is not Hageman. You read Patrick Haight.
Yep.
He's
the lead
backup
blocker.
tight end who's in the backfield with him in the lead blocker, and Allstott is going to follow him and go where he goes.
They're saying they didn't make it.
No, and that's what the Minnesota defense did. They followed Patrick Haight, took him to Allstott, and they didn't get it. He has one of those full body cramps or above the waist cramp. And when you weigh 340 pounds and you get one of those,
that's a big cramp.
I'll guarantee you that'll bend you over. And Jerry Wunsch got bent over.
Warwick Dunn, by the way, is back from the locker room and on the Buccaneers sideline. Here's Culpepper back out of the shotgun. The pass is caught by Randy Moss in between two Tampa Bay defenders.
Rondé Barber just missed that.
Yep.
Dante Culpepper did zip it in there. Here's Randy Moss right here. You see, he starts to the outside and then comes in, and it's a zone. He settles down, and he threw it right between the two corners. That's what a quarterback has to do. I mean, you have to throw it to your receiver, but you also have to throw it away from the defender.
4 wideouts this time for Minnesota. One of them's open again. It's Randy Moss. Do you get in a situation like this, or the inclination as a coach, John, is to say, we got a big lead now, let's sit back and give them the short ones?
Yeah, no, I don't like that. I think you know, it's you know, people talk about aggressive defense and being aggressive, and it's not how you're aggressive, it's when you're aggressive. And I think you have to pick your spots, and I don't think you can lose it. And I think you get something going, you get the aggression and the blitzing going. I think you have to stay with. And Monty Kiffin usually does stay with it.
Now they got him backed off a little bit. They're rushing 4. Culpepper just does get rid of it. Now this one could have been picked off, was almost picked off by Donnie Abraham. And Randy Moss again, the intended target.
It was a good play by him, just breaking that thing up. That Dante Culpepper threw that. It looked like the last shot out of a Roman candle. Watch Randy Moss. He becomes a defender here. You see, he's taking the ball away from Donnie Abraham.
Well, he's got strong hands and great leaping ability.
I tell you, you don't realize, you know, you watch this and it looks kind of innocent to feel down there. You don't realize how hot it is down there.
That's right.
They're playing, you know, out in that sun. It was over 100 degrees.
2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz. But they pick it up and almost picked it off. Brian Kelly almost took it away from Chris Carter and set sail.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think you can let a quarterback get too comfortable, no matter what the score is. And I think Dante Culpepper was starting to get comfortable. And then they come on another blitz, and I think Dante Culpepper looked that way the whole time. Now watch him. He's going to look at Chris Carter all the way. You see him look there all the way? But he had to get rid of that ball, and he threw that before Chris Carter was ready to catch it.
3rd and 10, big down for the Vikings. If they intend to get back into this game, 43 passes is more than Denny Green would like to be throwing. Coming across is Carter. And out of bounds. He seems to find wherever the open spot is.
And it's the same thing he did, remember, in the first half when he was getting the blitz. What he would do is he would look for Chris Carter in that intermediate area. And that's exactly what he does here. He gets him on the cross. He feels the blitz. He knows he's getting pressure. and he finds Chris Carter, who is just coming on a shallow cross.
Same pattern, exactly. Chris Carter over 100 receiving yards.
6 catches.
Culpepper back to throw. Chased out of the pocket. Gets rid of it. Picked off by Donnie Abraham. And the Buccaneers stop this drive.
Warren Sapp was saying he was held. He's still arguing.
Introducing the new 200 horsepower Chrysler Seabrings. Sedan, convertible, and coupe. They beg to be driven.
We think you need to integrate your global supply chain,
move assembly overseas,
and accelerate inventory velocity.
Great. Do it.
Sir, we don't actually do what we propose.
We just propose it.
UPS can help redesign your supply chain and make it work. From managing your logistics to financing your inventory, we deliver more than just packages.
Can you believe that, guy?
UPS, moving at the speed of business.
Announcing a breakthrough in pizza technology. A pizza inside a pizza. To demonstrate how much we can pack inside Pizza Hut's new Insider, we're going to take this elephant and pack him inside this phone booth. Smashing. Do we get it all in?
Well, we took one thin crust with 6 cheeses, sealed it with another crust and even more cheese. And that's the amazing new Insider Pizza, all for just $9.99.
Get that, will you?
The Insider Pizza from Pizza Hut, another one of the best pizzas under one roof.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chrysler. We're reinventing passion for drive. By Adidas. By UPS, moving at the speed of business. And by Norelco for an unexpectedly close shave guaranteed. Put it to the test.
Tampa Bay 34, Minnesota 13.
First and 10, Tampa Bay at the 25.
First and 10 at their own 25 for the Bucs. That's Allstott. Mike Allstott cuts it back and is tripped at the 40 by Robert Griffith.
Remember I was saying Warren Sapp was arguing with the official. Watch what happens here as he's coming in. Right here he's being held. See, Culpepper feels him and sees him, and that's why he throws the interception. What? Corbin Lucina was holding on to Warren Sapp's shoulder pad. Sapp was arguing with the official, but Donnie Abraham came up with his 4th interception of the year.
Allstott picked up 14 yards.
Warren Sapp has really raised havoc with this Viking offense.
He's a heck of a player. On first down, King fakes to Allstott and fires for Keyshawn Johnson, who hangs on and moved into Viking territory.
You know, and the guy who's not doing anything at all is John Randall. You know, we said earlier that he wasn't getting any pressure. Just why, I mean, he's double teamed there, but they're just keeping him right on the line. And if they don't get pressure from John Randall and they don't get any pressure, Keyshawn Johnson, along with Sean King, is just going to eat him up. Watch this. I mean, they just keep him right on the line of scrimmage. He doesn't even make the picture. Watch the time that Sean King has. Then you give a young quarterback that much time, his confidence just grows and grows and grows.
Here comes Allstott. And he's rolling downhill now.
Yeah, that's the way to play him. I mean, I think the way Les Steckel, the offensive coordinator, called this game is you start off passing, you loosen them up, and then you give them some Warwick Dunn, you know, some quickness early, and then you get control of the game, then you give them a heavy dose of Allstott.
Keyshawn Johnson, 121 yards, 6 catches, his first 100-yard game as a Buccaneer.
He'll have a lot of 100-yard games as a Buccaneer. I mean, you know, like him or not like him, Keyshawn Johnson is a superstar in this league.
2nd and 2. He's in motion, is Johnson. And the handoff is to Allstott. And Allstott hammers across the 25.
This is when Allstott's at his best.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know, if you look at running is harder in the first quarter, a little easier in the second, easier in the third, and easiest in the fourth quarter.
Well, it looks like they attacked him just like you prescribed.
Yep, and in the first half, they only ran 4 times, passed 13. The second half, they ran 16 and passed 10. They could very well not pass again.
They're eating up the clock now. 6:52 left. 50. Warwick Dunn had a big part earlier.
Yeah, he had a big part in loosening up this defense.
Timeout.
Tampa Bay.
The Bucks call a timeout, and Sean King comes over to the sideline. They have 2 left, but they're eating up the clock now. One way to see all the action on the field, you need to be inside the Monster.com blimp. The Monster.com blimp is providing us with these live shots of the game today. This is one of Monster.com's 2 blimps. This blimp is named Trump, and it's based on the East Coast. Tampa Bay's ball in Minnesota territory in their 24, and this is Warwick Dunn. Dunn to the 15.
Look at the difference in Keyshawn. This was last week. Remember after that hit where he got hit
in Detroit against Detroit.
Yeah, the blood coming out of his nose, the grass all over his face, and then
those eyes look a little sharper today, don't they?
Today he's going to look a little different.
Second down and 1 at the Viking 15. And the clock is rolling. Here comes Keyshawn in motion. King gives to Dunn, who doesn't get the first down.
I'm surprised they brought Dunn back in there. Because Allstott was going so well. Allstott had 40 yards and 38 of them were in this fourth quarter. And, a lot of times guys will say that running backs get stronger as the games go on. What happens is defenses get worn down.
Allstott comes out now. They put in Riddell Anthony.
See, Allstott is in the fourth quarter is 38 yards, 6.3 average. Because that defense is worn down, and they're a step slower than they were in the first quarter.
He'll be back. 3rd and 2. King out of the shotgun. Here comes the pressure. There goes the pass. Touchdown to Riddell Anthony. Touchdown passes for Sean King.
And who would have thought, huh? Antonio Banks was on him, on Riddell Anthony, and he was beaten badly. And Sean King saw it all the way. But here's Riddell Anthony, the outside guy. And you see him here. He goes to the inside. Antonio Banks goes for that move to the inside. And then Riddell Anthony just goes back to the outside.
To the delight of one Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp does all the moves for everything, doesn't it?
Dramatica's extra point is good. And it's 41-13 Tampa Bay.
Who would have thought?
Our first
41-13, the Buccaneers lead, and they're about to kick off. John, you said they practiced with confidence. They seemed confident when we talked with them. Sean King particularly seemed very relaxed and confident. So did Tony Dungy. You told them, you gave them a formula how to attack Minnesota. It's all worked.
And then they sure came out and played with a heck of a lot of confidence, didn't they?
They sure did. Dramatica's kick goes out of the end zone, so the Vikings will start from their own 20. 41-13, they trail. Professional figure skaters in the world as they compete in the Grand Slam super teams of skating. Brian Bortano, Katarina Witt, Brian Orser, and Nicole Bobick headline a star-studded field of Olympic and world champions. Round 1 of the Super Grand Slam super teams of skating. next on Fox. Been a super team here this afternoon, wearing white and pewter pants. Culpepper, Matthew Hatchett.
You know, the interesting thing about this, Pat, is you go back to 1998, and the Vikings only lost one game that year, and that was to the Buccaneers. And the Bucs that year were 3-4 at the time. Minnesota was undefeated. They came in here, and in that same game, the Bucs were the only team to beat them all year. And in that game, they didn't have a punt either.
Robert Smith, run down by Chidi Ahanatu. Came all the way across the field.
Yeah, that is something. I mean, you know, and that shows what kind of defense this Bucs are. You know, that they're all built around speed. But when you can get number 72, Chidi Ahanatu, who started on this left side and runs down a running back. He starts over here. Here's Chidi Ahanatu. But they start away from him. Now, most guys would stop and they'd get back in the huddle ready for the next play. That, I mean, you know, you may not say that. That is a heck of a play.
Incomplete. Intended for John Davis, who at one time was a Buccaneer.
That's the type of thing that they do with this defense. I mean, they really believe that everyone has to get to the ball no matter where the ball goes. And you'll see their defensive linemen, you'll see them rushed, and you'll see them, you know, turn and get downfield and tackle guys in the passing game.
That's Eric Zier getting ready. So perhaps we've seen the last of Sean King for today.
Sean King was as sharp today as I've ever seen him.
Spectacular day. Sharper than I've ever seen him. Culpepper gets it outside to Carter. Carter finally steps out of bounds. The last second little nudge.
What did John Lynch's wife write on that note today? You know, it's a big game and big players play big in big games. I'll tell you, a lot of Bucs played big today.
Stay focused on your job.
He did that. Warren Sapp did that.
Yep.
Warwick Dunn did that. Sean King did that. Keyshawn Johnson did that.
He really did. There's Smith again. Smith down and out of bounds almost, but the clock continues to run, indicating he didn't get out of bounds. Dexter Jackson brought him down. Smith has been quiet most of the day.
And that was that Buck defense. I mean, they were really tough with their blitzes, you know, because those blitzes not only took care of the pass, but they also took care of the run. And then the Bucs got ahead, and the Vikings were playing uphill the whole way.
Culpepper back in the shotgun. Outside, caught by Matthew Hatchett, who dances down the sideline, does get out of bounds, stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, they're going to say he stepped out of bounds on the 10-yard line. This is the thing that Culpepper does so well, is just get in the shotgun. He really feels comfortable there. Now what? Hatchett's going to step out on the 10-yard line. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Right there.
Right there, yep.
That's where they mark the ball.
So it's first and goal, I believe, at the 10. 2:51 left to play. Buccaneer fans would like to see the Vikings not score. Here is Culpepper. Almost got sacked, but got rid of it to Mo Williams, who gets down to about the 5 or 6. He's hard to bring down, isn't he?
Well, he's impossible to bring down. I mean, he weighs 258 pounds.
That's what he told us.
And I remember when 258 pounds was the size of offensive tackles and guards in the league.
Absolutely.
And, you know,
and it was a big offensive guard.
Yeah, and then he's a big 258. I mean, there's no place that you ought to lose 10. I mean, he shouldn't lose any. I mean, he's a big man.
Second and goal.
Just follow old Klein Saucer here.
The Buccaneers call a timeout. Brian Kelly saw something he didn't like, and he signaled for the timeout. They would like to keep the Vikings out of the end zone.
What do I want the internet?
Passed in the NFL through the decades, John.
And the size. I mean, Sid Luckman was big in the 40s. In the 50s, Otto Graham was big at 195. In the 60s, Joe Namath was 200. That was big. In the 70s, Terry Bradshaw, 210 pounds. Yeah, I mean, that was big and strong. Dan Marino in the 80s, 218. That was big and strong. Bledsoe was the biggest in the 90s, 233. And in the aughts, here's Dante Culpepper, 58, 258 pounds. About 30 pounds heavier than the heaviest quarterback. But you can just see how, you know, I mean, I think all society has grown.
Yeah, I think so too.
People are bigger generally, but quarterbacks have gotten bigger.
You could almost do that same thing with offensive linemen. They've gotten bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and how about defensive linemen?
Warren Sapp, for example.
Well, remember Les Bingaman, though?
Yeah,
Sure. He may have been about the size of Warren Sapp.
Oh, he's bigger than Warren Sapp.
You know, Warren Sapp doesn't have a great body. I mean, Warren Sapp is a bad body. He's the president of the Bubba Club. It's a Brotherhood of United Bad Bodies of America. But I'll tell you, with that bad body, he can move that bad body around.
Culpepper over the head of Moss in the end zone. Under pressure. 2 minutes to left. The Bucs have the game won, but they'd like Minnesota not to score another touch. 3rd and goal at the 5 for Minnesota. Tampa Bay leading 41-13.
You know, Dante Culpepper, so far this season has been great in the 4th quarter. Coming into this game, his quarterback rating was 140. In this game, he's 42.4.
A tribute to the Buccaneer defense.
And being behind so far.
They're showing blitz this time, and they do blitz, and Moss is in the corner of the end zone, incomplete, and no foul is called. They both were pushing. Brian Kelly was out there with him. Moss was pushing, and Kelly was pushing.
And there's a flag now, but that's going to be against Moss for arguing, because there was no flag on the play. The flag was after the play, and it's going to be whatever Randy Moss did to the official after the play.
Of course, you can't touch or grab an official.
No, you can't, and you shouldn't. I mean, there's no way that, I mean, the officials need that protection. There's no one can put a hand on an official.
Not even Randy Moss.
I don't know that he did, or it was just something he said.
I don't know
that it wasn't the play. It was after the play.
Between down and sportsmanlike conduct, offense number 84 for contacting the official. 15 yards, disqualification. 4th down.
Welcome to those of you who watched Miami defeat Green Bay 28-20. Randy Moss has just been thrown out of the game.
And see, he thought it should have been interference, and right there, he just touched the official. You see him grab him, that right hand grab him there?
Yep.
And as you said, you can't argue with the official, but you can't touch the official.
So his whistle come out of his mouth as he got ready to say, you touched me or whatever.
So that was a 15-yard penalty. Randy Moss has been thrown out of the game, and he has to leave the field right now. Here's the play. Here's what he was arguing about. I don't know. It looked like, you know, he had his hand on him after the ball. That looked pretty good. That looked like pretty good coverage there.
It brings up 4th and goal at the 20 after the penalty. Tampa Bay leading Minnesota 41-13. The last of the unbeaten's about to go down. Here's Culpepper throwing in the corner of the end zone again and out of the end zone. And Tampa Bay will take over. And just to summarize, for those of you who perhaps just joined us, turnovers were a big factor. Minnesota 3 times. And Tampa Bay got 21 points as a result of turnovers.
Sean King threw 4 touchdown passes. And that was a big part of it, you know, because they loosened up that defense.
That one to Keyshawn Johnson.
This one here to Warwick Dunn. That's their man-to-man on a linebacker.
That one to the tight end Moore. And here's the 4th one. To Anthony.
Yeah, that was a big part of the story. And a bigger part of the story, I think, was the way that this Buck defense played. They were outstanding.
Here's Allstott into the secondary, lowering shoulder and head, and let's go down to D.J. Johnson.
You know, Pat and John, you always hear players and coaches talk about the importance of getting off to a good start. Before the game, Chris Carter predicted that they would play an especially crucial role in this game. He said more, you know, if the Vikings got off to a bad start, it meant winning or losing the game. If the Bucs got off to a bad start, it meant salvaging their season. He said when you lose this many games in a row, you start to doubt yourself, doubt the system, and one more crucial blow to the Bucs psyche could have sent them on a downward spiral that they couldn't recover from. They answered the bell, they played well, and the Bucs are still swinging here in the fourth quarter. Back up to you, Pat.
All right, DJ, that pretty well summarizes it. Eric Zires, the quarterback, and Allstott gets the carry. And Allstott protecting the ball as he goes down outside the 35. Carter made the stop.
I was just going to say, adding to what DJ said, I never did feel that this Buccaneer team was down. Just watching them practice and the way they did things and the way the coaches and players interacted, you never had the feeling that anyone was down or not buying into the program. You felt that they had a lot of confidence, even though they had lost 4 in a row.
Today's game is being produced by Bob Stenner and directed by Sandy Grossman. The associate director is Mike Roy. Broadcast associates are Charles McDonald and Wayne Wilson. Buccaneers will just run it out. The technical producer is Bob Muller. Pre-game show is produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Senior producer Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. And it's over, as there are none in the NFL with a 0 behind their name. Every team has lost at least one now. Minnesota went down today to Tampa Bay, 41-13. A perfect day at Raymond James. Here's the UPS leaderboard delivering today's leaders. Enter the UPS Big Game Day leaderboard sweepstakes by logging on to foxsports.com. This is Pat Summerall for John Madden and DJ Johnson saying so long from Tampa Bay, where once again the final score is Tampa Bay 41, Minnesota 13. Be sure to stay tuned to Fox Sports for the Autotrader.com postgame show with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris right after these messages. For more information on today's game and the latest NFL news, log on to foxsports.com.
Took control.
And what a dominant play this is early on to set the tone for your football team. Just destroys the offensive lineman in front of him, runs through, forces a turnover. Tampa Bay's ball going in.
So when the defense forces turnover and gives Sean King a short field, what could happen? Keyshawn Johnson powering through Chris Dishman. 7-0 Bucs. Warren Sapp, oh yeah. With a score of 7-3 after Gary Anderson field goal, Sean King. This is why Tony Dungy says he's our quarterback. So Warwick Dunn, 23 yards, 14-3, Buccaneers.
Well, you've got the matchup you want. You've got Warwick Dunn on linebacker, Ed McDaniel. Ed McDaniel is going to see Jacquez Green in the slot flash in front of him. He stops for just a second, and that's long enough for Warwick Dunn to get wide open for the score.
So 14-3 Tampa Bay. Dante Culpepper, 7 for 7 in his NFL. So Randy Moss, are you kidding me with this one-handed catch? 14-10.
I don't even know if you comment on this. You just enjoy his athleticism.
Oh, my God. Touchdown, Minnesota. Their offense has got no criticism with plays like that. For Tony Dungy's offense, they're trying to redefine who they are. But today, they defined it in a different way because Sean King to Keyshawn for 23 yards. 3 plays later, and this underutilized, pretty good pass-catching tight end Dave Moore beat the double coverage 20 yards, 21-10 Bucs. King would have 4 touchdown passes today to the chagrin of Dennis Green. The score 21-10 second quarter. You saw Warren Sapp. This is Derek Brooks making the big play. The 2 biggest players on the defense, along with Lynch, make the play. Touchdown Brooks, 28-10 Tampa Bay. after the hit by 53 Shelton Quarles.
Key to this play is everybody on the same page. Brooks knows the blitz is coming. He knows that he can keep that tight coverage at the line of scrimmage. Ball thrown up for grabs. Pressure on Culpepper. Easy score for Derek Brooks.
Monty Kippen, the defensive coordinator, says we have everybody's number today. We know exactly what Minnesota's doing. ET doesn't need to phone home. Vikings trail 34-13. Culpepper, here's another one of those big defensive players, been quiet for a while. Donnie Abraham, he Isaacs his way down the field. Sapp, happy. Fourth, Randy Moss, not happy. Unfortunate issue here. He touches Lloyd McPeters, the official, on the arm, kind of bumps his cap with the helmet. He's called out, tossed out of the game. And, well, there will be days like this for the Vikings. Although they move along up until the last weekend in October. But it's the Buccaneers that look like the team that many of us thought they might. Winning by the count of 41-13. We told you about King's touchdown passes. And every now and then you got to sit back and listen to your head coach.
Coach talked to us last night and said, you know, visualize yourself being the one that made the plays, because every time we played this ball club, it's always winding to 4 or 5 plays. And, you know, I got a one-on-one rush with, you know, Lucina, and I put a good move on him, and Dante's right there in front of me, and I hit him and knocked the ball loose, and, you know, just started a fight from that point on. And Keyshawn punches it in for us, and we just rolled from that point on. Everybody kept pouring gas on the fire, and we played a real good game today.
Being able to talk to Coach Dungy and talk to Sean King and talk to Les Steckel and tell them, you know, you got to let 19 and 28 eat. Let us eat till we fall to our face. And that's what they did today. They let us eat, and then we got everybody else involved, and it worked for us.
We missed an opportunity to go undefeated and win the World Championship at 20-0. That's the only thing that we lost out on. That's the only way our mindset works. We'll let Tampa and Tony take care of them, and they'll let me and our team take care of ourselves.
Hey, look, Dennis is right. They're 2 up on Detroit, who lost. There's still 3 up on Tampa. Minnesota has been the story in the first half of the season, but today it was Tampa Bay looking like a team we thought they might, and the team, maybe this is a new image they have.
Well, great overall team effort. I think the defense did what they usually do. You create the turnovers, especially close to the goal line. Sometimes you get them and you score. Give Sean King a chance to work with a short field. He showed a little lack of poise the last couple of weeks. He came back very poised today to 4 touchdowns. And Dante Culpepper, his first under-par effort this season, he gets one. If you would have told them they're going to be 7-1 at the halfway point, I think Coach Green would take that.
On the 8th tee, he's allowed to hit one in the woods.
That's correct.
Now, here's the big picture. Minnesota was 7-0, the Rams falling a week before. So you know that those 72 Dolphins, Don Shula and Zonk and Kick and Mercury and Nick Bonaconti, and the list goes on, and Larry Little and Warfield, they all put that bottle of champagne in their own fridge. And sometime tonight, they'll get on the phone together, and it'll sound like the 72 Dolphins, still the only team to make it through the whole season, undefeated, untied. Champagne! Perfect. No picks. 4 losses, less than perfect. Tampa, who was 1-3, then lost 4 in a row. Will this be a winning role for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa.